Next up, World War III, the pay-per-view, not the actual World War. At least I hope not. I'm Charles Rentham with the retro review of WCW Nitro from November 20th, 1995. And yep, we're about to get to the three-ring, 60-man, all-human centipede together to decide who will become the new WCW World Heavyweight Champion. It's Randy Savage. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling the pay-per-view you haven't seen, but it's been out for 25 fucking years. I do apologize for that, though. So, yeah, go-home show for World War III, and actually not a bad episode at all. Some good storytelling. They're still trying to make the Dungeon of Doom happen, as bad as that fucking stable is. Not the worst stable ever in wrestling, or worst faction, or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, they were pretty goddamn shit. That poor dog of Mongo's, God, that dog looked so fucking miserable and scared. Then again, I actually had a friend that had a few dogs like that, and they were always shaking, so maybe that's just something that they fucking do. So we had Scott Flash Norton versus the Shark. Big lads smashing into each other, and it went about 2.5 minutes. And with power slam for Norton, that got the victory. 1, 2, 3. To be fair, at that point, you didn't really want those guys going very long, especially the Shark. John Tenta, really sad how he passed away as young as he did, and was a very, very talented big man. Maybe if you put these guys in a New Japan setting, and Scott Norton did a lot of great work in New Japan, you could have actually had a better match. But for an American wrestling product, you wanted these guys to only go a few goddamn minutes. Then Mean Gene interviews Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan about Hogan, Sting, and World War III. Whose side is Sting on? No, wait, we're not at the whose side is he on thing yet. Still got to go to Bash at the Beach 1996. I do also want to clarify right now that as far as retro reviewing the rest of Nitro, like from 95 all the way till the end, I'm already doing that with WCW 2000 till, the end in 2001. So I'm probably going to stop sometime around Uncensored 96, because then it kind of just goes a little bit weird. I may, in fact, I probably will in May and June talk about Scott Hall and Kevin Nash's, debuts or, returns to WCW, since they did wrestle there before. But I do want to tell you that I'm probably going to ease up on these reviews after the next couple months. So, Eddie then interrupts Disco's CD plug. Disco Inferno. It's really sad that he lasted in the company as long as he fucking did, because he was goddamn shit. And then Ric Flair has Brian Pillman substitute for him, because Flair's got to prepare to face Sting at World War III. He's got to keep the jet running, or something like that. And then Brian Pillman versus Eddie Guerrero, good as expected. These guys laid a lot of shit in. Eddie dives outside, big pop from the crowd. And even though Pillman kept trying to, use dirty tactics and use, his great skill, nope, frog splash, 1, 2, 3, Eddie Guerrero gained the victory over one of the four horsemen. And then we get to Big Bubba Rogers versus, I'm going to always call him Big Bubba Rogers whenever he's in WCW, but he was just Big Bubba here, versus Road Warrior Hawk. It's a brawl, and that was pretty much it. And there really wasn't much to this, not that you would expect much from these guys, besides brawling. As good as these guys were, as natural workers as these guys were for being big guys, you just wanted them to brawl, and just brawl for a few minutes to excite the crowd. Bubba gets a tape fist ready. He's going to face Hacksaw Jim Duggan at World War III in a tape fist match. Tape fisting match. Have fun on seeing that. And Duggan pulls Bubba's leg out, from under him, basically just pulls him down. He hits his own fist. Man, he fists himself. That's got to be uncomfortable, especially for him. And Hawk tops him 1, 2, 3. The Hawk top, if you will. And Sting in red and yellow is in the ring, and Randy Savage, is out there at the entranceway. Hulk Hogan's music hits, and Randy Savage is in a sling because his arm got targeted, recently by Lex Luger, and also because his arm's been beaten up, and Savage fought through so many goddamn injuries. It's a miracle he was even able to walk by this point. And he's just distracting Sting. And then Hogan, in the Zorro Phantom of the Opera mask, whatever the fuck you want to call it, sneaks through the crowd, barely, and then barely gets over the guardrail. It was really awkward. It was really fucking funny. Go back and watch it, and you'll just see how funny it is to see Hogan try to awkwardly get over the guardrail and practically rack himself. And then they, had a pretty good match here. Big fight field. This wasn't their this wasn't their greatest match. Don't get me wrong. It was a lot better than the match they would have at Starrcade 97, because that was absolute shit. The crowd booed Hogan heavily. Really booed him. Hogan does a side headlock, and for like a minute, it really took a while for them to get back into not going fast paced, but just getting some energy to the match. Hogan really loved doing his rest holds. And then he does a bear hug briefly. The pounding, the pummeling is one of the lines on commentary. And then Scorpion Deathlock, and Hogan's instantly screaming like within a second of being in the move. He's going to break my leg, Macho. He's going to break my leg. Goddamn, Hogan. Jeez. Man, it's not the only time I've seen a Hogan, be a goddamn wreck in a courtroom. So, Dungeon of Doom then attacks Sting and Hogan, fight them off, and then Savage is there, hits the Giant with a chair, gets choke slammed, and Sting and Hogan knock the Giant over the ropes. And then they come back from break, and Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan are yelling at the commentators. So, yep, the next stop is World War III. I'll be retro-reviewing that pretty soon. You may notice, by the way, just to finish this up, that some of these videos are popping up, a couple weeks before the actual anniversary of the show. The reason is I'm basically binging as many of these as I possibly fucking can, because I got a lot of other shit I got to review. So I figured I want to get these in the can, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed them. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.